Have you ever watched a movie where it was so obvious that a product was purposely being displayed within the film? Now, in contrast to this question, have you ever watched a movie where you noticed the filmmakers incorporate the product being advertised in the film in a way that actually suited the movie's story and tied in nicely with the plot? Which one did you appreciate more? Hello, my name is Connor, and today I'm going to discuss how both films and product companies benefit from successful product placement. So in order to talk about this, I'm going to break it up into three main points. In my first point, we'll be looking at how having products or brands tie into the film's plot have proven to enhance consumer memory. Then I'm going to shift gears and talk about Twitter users that responded to films where they saw poorly placed product embedding within those films. And finally, I'm going to discuss a popular film that has demonstrated how well-placed products can be very effective towards achieving success for the company that the product represents. So now that we've just gone over my main points, let's dive into my first point. In the journal 20 Years of Research on Product Placement in Movie, Television, and Video Game Media, Vildan Juzefovic-Karisic attempts to measure the effectiveness of product placement in movies by examining its effect on consumer memory. In the journal, he states, quote, "Even in cases when the strong plot connected product placements that were seen only for a short period on the screen, the unaided recall rate was reported to reach 86.6%, end of quote. So really, as long as the product that's being placed in a film somehow ties in with the story's plot, the product will leave a greater impression on the audience. By successfully increasing a consumer's product recall rate, it will benefit the company the product represents in the long run. This is because in advertisement, exposure of a product is necessary for building a company's success. So now that we've just covered my first point, let's tackle my second point. So when I went on Twitter and searched product placement in films, most of the tweets that came back from the results were tweets describing how so many films tend to fall in the trap of lazily placing products in films. By poorly placing these products in films, it almost distracts the audience from the film and can even take away from the overall experience. Also, if lots of these viewers are upset with how a movie decides to poorly place a commodity in a film, that product most likely won't succeed in sales. Here are some of the tweets that I found on Twitter. The last tweet that you see, talking about how well the movie E.T. embedded products in its film, brings me to my final point. While the film E.T. wasn't the first film to feature the concept of product placement in a movie, it was and continues to be one of the most successful demonstrations. The film perfectly captures the idea of what it means to incorporate a product into the plot of a film. In the film, there's a scene where Elliot, the main character, is luring in E.T. with Reese's Pieces. This creative way of embedding the product actually contains relevancy to the story's plot, as opposed to just simply displaying a product for no good reason. If a product is embedded in a film in a way that seems pointless and even obvious to viewers, the viewers will most likely react negatively, as expressed through the tweets that were displayed earlier. This natural way of advertising also allows viewers to recognize the product without acting as a distraction to the movie's story. Overall, this method of product placement was extremely beneficial towards Hershey's sales, proving yet again how essential it is to follow this form of product placement. By sharing with you how having products tie into a film's plot enhances consumer memory, then discussing Twitter users that responded to films that featured poorly placed product embedding, and lastly by referring to the film E.T. to illustrate what an ideal product placement looks like, hopefully you will now better understand how companies and films can benefit from successful product placement. I also hope to have encouraged filmmakers and companies to adapt this mentality and utilize it to its fullest potential because it can be extremely beneficial.